Welcome back on Dynamod. Today I want to propose you a video about the rules of Supplement Blood Angels 2020. Because it's really quite full of rules, I decided to create different videos with a focus each one on a different set of videos. And you can find everything about such rules in the playlist in the description, so not worry about this. And remember that you can find everything there. So now you can start seeing the rules related about secondary objectives. And about these secondary objectives, remember that if all your army is comprised of units that has the keyword Blood Angels, excepting the units that has the Agents of the Imperium and unaligned keyword, and your Warlord itself has the Blood Angel keyword, then you can choose these secondary objectives as the ones that you can choose for gaining points. But remember also that you have still access to the Warhammer 40k core book once, eventually the GH 2020 ones, and moreover remember that you are still able to take the ones from the Codex of the Space Marines, because you have an army that is still an Adeptus Astartes one, so you have access also to that one. Moreover, you have to remember that as all the other secondary objectives, each of the secondary objectives listed in this category can be chosen only one for each category each game, so you can have only one of the main category for each. And remember that you can't gain more than 15 victory points for every one of these secondary objectives. So remember that the limits are still the same even if you are choosing these specific ones. And the first one that we can see, it's from the category Purge the Enemy, and it's Blade of Sanguinius, that it's an end game objective. It lets you at the start of your first command phase, you must select one Blood Angels character model from your army to issue a challenge, and your opponent must select one character model from their army to accept that challenge. If either player does not have a character model, they must instead select their warlord. And it lets you score 5 victory points at the end of the battle for each of the following conditions that has been satisfied. The first, the model that accepted the challenge was destroyed. So if you are able to make that model, that enemy one has been destroyed, you gain 5. Then the model that accepted the challenge was destroyed by a melee attack, so you gain more if you are able to make it in close combat destroyed. And the third one to gain the maximum point available, it's that the model that accepted the challenge was destroyed by a melee attack made by the model that issued the challenge. So you have to remember that the most important thing is to destroy the enemy model. Then you gain even more if you are able to do that in close combat, and if the same model that issued the challenge was able to make this destroyed model. So in any case, with the first two ones, you are able to make that you only need to destroy that, and so it doesn't mind which unit of yours make it. The third one, to gain the maximum points, is that you are able with your character to destroy that character. So pay attention, because the opponent can choose a really difficult one to kill. At the same time, you can gain quite a lot. So it's something that it can be quite interesting, but you have to pay attention which army you are going against. And then we move to the next category, that it's No Messi No Respite. The first one that you can find here as secondary objective is Fury of the Lost. Here we have a progressive objective that lets you gain 3 victory points at the end of your turn if one or more enemy unit has been destroyed by a death company unit from your army this turn. Remember, so that each turn gives you 3 victory points. So to gain the maximum points available, you have to have units destroyed for 5 turns. So pay attention. The interesting part anyway is that it say turns, not battle round. So it means that it involves both yours and your opponent. So it's quite easier to do, but still you have to pay attention, because it's limited, and not mind how many units you destroyed in one turn, but it will always cost you 3 victory points as gaining, so you have to pay attention how to make these units destroyed in the way that you can gain more victory points. So pay attention about how to use your Death Company units. And then we have Death from Above, that it's again a progress objective, and they let you score 2 victory points at the end of your turn if any enemy unit were destroyed by a Blood Angels unit from your army that was set up on the battlefield in the reinforcement step of any of your movement phase. If any of those enemy units were a charter unit, score 3 victory points instead. So you have to pay a bit of attention. First, it's that to be able to use this second objective also in the first turn, you need for sure to have that drop pods so that you can deploy the units arriving from the reserve in your first turn, otherwise you're not able to do, and in such a way you are able to make that arriving in such a way you can make that you have the units in your army that has been deployed before to damage the unit that you are going to target, and then the unit that arrive from the reserve that is going to finish that unit. So you have to pay attention because you have only 5 opportunities to gain. So or you are able to kill every turn the charters, or you are not able to maximize these points. So you have to pay attention because this one can seem really quite easy, but it doesn't give so many points as you could think. So you have to pay a bit of attention about how to deploy and how you progress in deploying the unit from the reserve. So you have to pay attention, but it can be quite interesting to have something that gives you a way to force your opponent to make sure that your units that arrive from the reserve are arriving in ways that are not able to damage greatly the units. So it's a way to control the way that your opponent can move and deploy. And then we have the category Battlefield Supremacy with Relentless Assault. This is still a progressive objective and they let you score 4 victory points at the end of your turn if there are more Blood Angels units from your army in the enemy deployment zone than are enemy units in your deployment zone. So it can be quite interesting because as Blood Angels you have a lot of fast units and you can arrive from the AP, you can arrive from the flanks, you can arrive in the way that you can move fast to the opponent deployment zone, you can use the aircraft so that they are able to move, because you only need Blood Angels unit, it doesn't refer to anything else, so you can use a really big variety of unit to be able to do such thing, and you only need a unit more than your opponent. So if you are able that your opponent is not able to do the same to you, you need one unit to do such things so that you can gain such victory points. So it can be quite easy, but it's something that you have to remember that you have to do for at least 4 turns to be able to gain the maximum points available. So pay attention because it can be quite interesting, and in some way that you have fast victory points to gain, but it's difficult to gain these victory points in the way that you have each of your turns able to gain such ones. So pay a bit of attention, but it can be quite interesting. So these secondary objectives are not so bad. Some of them are better than the others, but I think that you can combine in a lot of ways with the others that are available, and so that you can gain a lot of variety that you can gain more. So I think that it's quite interesting as options about secondary objective for this supplement. Anyway, remember that in the description you can find the playlist about a lot of rules related about the buttons that you can be interested about, and also the video about the secondary objective of the Codex Supplement that can be useful to amplify the ones that you have access to. So go to see also those ones. Anyway,
from Dino Mode it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again. To the next time.